All right, welcome everyone to a Tuesday episode of the Call Sheet Daily Podcast here at the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Kevin Smith. We are inching ever closer to kickoff in the NFL regular season. We are a little more than 48 hours away, depending on when you're listening to this, sometime on Tuesday. That's going to be a phenomenal event. Eagles unveiling their Super Bowl banner at home against the hated Dallas Cowboys. Should be an interesting game. I don't know if I'll call it a great game. Philly might wind up rolling Dallas in that one, but it'll be an interesting affair. And with kickoff just a couple of days away, it provides me a great opportunity to do my Fearless Predictions show. I did the Fearless Predictions show last year before I had launched the Call Sheet Daily. I was just doing the call sheet one day a week back then. And I had some hits and I had some misses. I nailed Josh Allen as the league MVP. I nailed the Philadelphia Eagles as the Super Bowl champ. I missed out on their opponent. I thought that the Baltimore Ravens would be the AFC champion last year. I think I got 6 out of the 8 division winners correct. Who knows, man? You don't really have any idea how it's all going to play out. I mean, you can read up. If you're a fantasy person, you probably study the details a lot more. But one of the things that makes the NFL so exciting is the parity and the fact that there really are so many teams that have an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. When I look at the league this year, I could probably make an argument for 8 or 10 teams as being legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Maybe that number's a hair high, but I would absolutely say you could go 6 to 8. And that makes it exciting. And there's probably 20 to 24 or so teams that could make a credible argument that they can make the playoffs. So when you have 2/3 of the league's fan bases invested in the season because they feel as though their teams could make the playoffs or even a playoff run, that's a good thing. All right, so fearless predictions for the 2025 season. I'm going to give you 10 of them. Let's start with the division winners. I'll go division by division, tell you who I think is going to win each division. In the AFC, we'll go AFC first, then NFC. In the AFC, Buffalo Bills are going to win the East. I don't think that there's a whole lot of competition there. I don't think that New England, Miami, or the Jets are ready to be playoff teams. New England should be better. The Jets will probably be better. I don't know. It feels almost like the arrow's trending down in Miami, but none of those teams should threaten the Bills, provided they stay healthy. That's the caveat you have to put out there for everything that you're about to say. Provided they stay healthy. That is just a given. That a key injury could derail any of these seasons. So, give me Buffalo in the East. Give me Baltimore in the North. Pains me to say it as a Steelers fan, but still, I believe Baltimore to be the class of a very good division that should see 3 teams, in my opinion, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, all make the playoffs. I'll take Houston in the South. I think their defense is excellent. I don't think that they have a whole lot of competition. Some people are high on Jacksonville. I'm not as high on the Jaguars as many others. I think the Colts are a team in significant transition right now. And the Titans are just bad and will probably be bad for most of the year. So give me Houston in the South. And I guess if I'm going out on a limb in any of these, there's 8 divisions, and I think 5 or 6 of them, I think the answers are pretty clear. Many people would think that the answer is fairly clear in the West, that it's going to be Kansas City. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Denver Broncos will unseat the Kansas City Chiefs as the champions in the West. I just keep coming back to the fact that Kansas City has made 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, and that entails them to playing into February, which is a full month more football than most teams in the NFL have played over that time. You add it up, you play 5 full months of football over the last 6 seasons. That's the equivalent of playing a full season. It's almost like the Chiefs have played a full season of football more than many of the other teams in the NFL over the last 6 years. And you just have to ask, at what point does that catch up to them? I think Denver's a young team on the come, and while I wouldn't lay money on this, I'm going to pick them to win the West in a bit of an upset. All right, over in the NFC, Philly is still the class of the East. There's nothing I saw this offseason that transpired in that division that would have me think otherwise. I think Washington's a good football team. They may come back to earth a little bit this year. They're not going to sneak up on anybody like they did last year. And Philly is still built to win. This may be a bit of a surprise. I think it's a 3-team toss-up in the North between Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay, particularly in the wake of the Micah Parsons trade that sees him go to Green Bay. But I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings. And I know I'm going out on a limb there because they have a de facto rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy starting for them. He's never started an NFL game in his life. And that's a lot to put on the shoulders of a guy like McCarthy, predicting them to win the division. But I just think they're so talented, and the coaching is really good. I love Kevin O'Connell's offense, and I love Brian Flores' defense. And Detroit may regress a little bit. I think they'll be better than most people think, but I don't think they're going 15-2 again. And I'm still not 100% sold on Green Bay. I mean, again, adding Parsons is a big deal, but I'm not 100% sold on them. So give me the Vikings in the North. I'll take Tampa Bay in the South. I think that's as close to a slam dunk as you can get. And then the West, I think, is a toss-up as well, right? You have the Niners, who should rebound off of a bad season last year. You have Seattle that went 10-7 last year, who should be a pretty good football team. Arizona's going to be better, but I'll take the Rams. And this is the one I'm most nervous about. This is the one I'm even more nervous about this than I am with their AFC counterparts, the Broncos, because Matthew Stafford has had some disc issues with his lower back. And as you get older, lower back injuries are particularly debilitating. So I'm a little worried about whether or not Stafford can actually survive the season. And him going down would derail LA's chances. But for the moment, give me the Rams in the West. All right, Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, Denver in the AFC, Philly, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, and the Rams in the NFC and in the Super Bowl. So here's fearless prediction number 2. In the Super Bowl, I will take the Buffalo Bills to finally get over the hump, to finally slay the dragon that has been terrorizing the Buffalo sports landscape for the better part of, forever. Josh Allen gets it done, and he leads the Bills to a Super Bowl victory over the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's really hard to repeat. Kansas City did it a couple years ago, and again, the Chiefs have been to 5 out of the last 6 Super Bowls. They've won 3, they've lost 2. Philly is a really good football team, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's just time for the Buffalo Bills to have their moment. They've never won the Super Bowl. The defense returns. They swapped out. Von Miller is gone and Joey Bosa's there. That's probably a slight upgrade. But the best part of their defense is the continuity. I mean, they've got just about everybody back. It feels like maybe this year is the year they get over the hump. So give me the Bills, Super Bowl champs. All right, other picks. Let's talk about some individual awards. Offensive Player of the Year. Well, if the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl, you might say, hey, Josh Allen is the Offensive Player of the Year. But hold off on that for a moment. I'll take Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase looks like he is ready for a monster season. Joe Burrow is healthy. He played a lot in the preseason. He looks ready to roll. Jamar Chase got his massive contract extension. He looks excited to go. I mean, Cincinnati could be a really dangerous team. The problem is they got to play defense. I mean, you're going to want to bet the over in a lot of Bengals games this season. I don't think they have enough defense to win in December and January, so I won't take them as far as that goes. But give me Jamar Chase as the offensive player of the year. I think he's ready for a monster season. On the defensive side of the ball, I'll take Will Anderson of the Houston Texans. He has gotten better every year, right? Good rookie season 2 years ago, better last year. He should be better still this year. You know, he's got Danielle Hunter on the other side of the line to take some of the pressure off him. You can't double team him as much because of Hunter's presence. They got a great secondary. They got some shutdown defenders in the secondary that the coverage will hold up. Might cause quarterbacks to hold the ball a little bit longer. I think Will Anderson will put up some big numbers this year in Houston. I'll take him as my defensive player of the year. Rookie of the year, this is going to be fascinating. I mean, you've got a lot of candidates. Travis Hunter could be in for an historic season as he tries to play both sides of the ball. Ashton Genty, looks like the entire offense in Vegas is really going to be built around him. He and Brock Bowers, both those guys could put up massive numbers. Travion Henderson has everybody excited with his explosiveness up there in New England. He looks like he could be a go-to guy for the Patriots. But the guy I'm going to pick for Rookie of the Year, not offensive, not defensive, overall, Rookie of the Year, Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they have a great offense in Tampa. And I think that with the injury to Jalen McMillan, he will step in as the team's number 2 wide receiver opposite of Mike Evans. And I think that Baker Mayfield will very quickly find himself drawn to Emeka Egbuka. He is a precise route runner, a tremendous catcher of the football, a great blocker, a guy who is a selfless teammate. I think he's in for a huge rookie year. So I'll take Emeka Egbuka. And now, if I can double back, NFL MVP. I think Josh Allen wins it again, right? He won it last year. Give me Josh Allen again. If I'm picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl, I will double down on the success of their leader, Josh Allen. He could be in for the best year of his career. The only question is, are they good enough at wide receiver, right? Is Keon Coleman a legit number 1? Is Josh Palmer a guy who scares defenses? Do they have enough at wide receiver to help Allen put up monster stats? But my sense is that they will, and I'll take Josh Allen as the MVP. All right, let's get into some of the more obscure awards, not necessarily positive ones either. This isn't really an award. I should say predictions, obviously. Predictions. Who will be the first coach fired? That is always something interesting and something that obviously you want to keep your eye on. I think there are some interesting candidates. You got some guys on the hot seat throughout the league, but Brian Daboll in New York, and this is no fault of his own, but the Giants' schedule, the first 9 weeks of the year, is brutal. They're only going to be the favorite in 1 game out of their first 9. I mean, listen to this. Here's New York's opening schedule, the first 9 games of the year. Washington Commanders went 13-4 last year, made it to the NFC Championship game. Dallas Cowboys, division rival, on the road. Kansas City Chiefs, enough said. LA Chargers, going to be a very good football team. They're going to be the underdog in all 4 of those games. Then they get the New Orleans Saints. That's the one game where they'll be the favorite. They've got to win that football game because the next 4 weeks after that they go Eagles, Broncos, Eagles again, out to San Francisco to play the 49ers. They're going to be the underdogs in 8 of the first 9 games. And if they only win a couple, right? It's not far-fetched to envision them getting off to like a 2-7 start. I don't know if Brian Daboll keeps his job. At what point does the Mara family say, let's just wash it all out? Daboll's gone. Russ Wilson goes to the bench. Give me Jackson Dart as our starter, and we'll figure out an interim. And give me somebody who we really feel confident can develop Jackson Dart next season. So while I think the Giants could be a vastly improved team, they're building a good defense. They've got some pretty interesting skill players. That schedule is nasty, and it could lead them to a really bad start that could hasten the demise of Brian Daboll. All right, sticking with the accolades you don't want to receive. Who will be the first quarterback benched? I'm tempted to say Russell Wilson, because if the Giants do get off to a bad start, they're going to want to find out sooner than later what they have in Jackson Dart. But I'll go with Tyler Shuck in New Orleans. I don't think he is ready, man. I don't think he's ready to be a full-time quarterback. And I think the more he plays early on, the more damage it will do to his career. And I think for his own sake, at some point fairly early in the season, Kellen Moore will put him on the bench in favor of Spencer Rattler, just to allow Tyler Shuck to kind of regather and calm down and watch for a little bit. And then who knows, he may regain his starting job by the end of the year. But I can't see him keeping it for 17 games. All right, what will the trend of the year be? Well, 60-yard field goals seems like a good bet. The 60-yard field goal used to be an outlier, but we saw 4 of them in the preseason, as well as a 59-yarder. It looks like kickers are very comfortable kicking from over 60 yards now. I mean, just for perspective, that means the holder is spotting the ball on the other side of the 50. That is still a weird sight to me. And there have still only been a handful of 60-plus yard field goals in NFL history, but it just feels like that's going to break loose. And the other trend of the year, big personnel on offense. I think you're going to see offenses go big again because defenses have gone lighter. They're really trending in the direction of smaller, faster linebackers, nickel packages, loading up on defensive backs. And I think the logical offensive counter move to that, put more tight ends on the field. Go bigger. 12 personnel, 13 personnel. I think we're going to see a lot of that. And let's end with this. What will be the bust of the year? The bust of the year. And for me, it's no-brainer. Hands down. Bust of the year, the stupid electronic measurement system that they're using to replace the old school chain gang. I talked about this last week on the show. It doesn't address the problem. The problem is spotting the ball, not measuring to see if a first down has been achieved. It's unwieldy. It takes too long. The graphics are stupid. It's a bad idea. I think it's going to be a huge bust, and I hope they'll get rid of it and go back to 80-year-old men trotting out the chains and the drama of when they stretch that thing out of seeing whether or not the ball has made it to the first down marker. All right, those are our fearless predictions for the 2025 NFL season. Now, give me a minute, please, because tomorrow on the show, fantastic guest, Mike Mayock, former general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, then Oakland Raiders, longtime analyst on NFL Network, worked all their draft coverage, longtime commentator and announcer for both college and pro sports, is going to be my guest on the Call Sheet Daily tomorrow, and I will pick Mike's brain about his football life, but also about being a general manager. How do you, given the fact that we've just gone from 90 to 53, that final roster cuts have just been made and final rosters have been assembled, how's that process work as a GM? Right? You know, let's kind of peek behind the curtain and talk to Mike Mayock about how that process works. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow. That's going to be a special show. Until then, Have a great day, everybody. This has been Kevin Smith for the Call Sheet Daily. Take care.